All right, so this is going to be the solution to your exercise 4 first, in which we have the concept of validation applied. Validation. So it says you work for the University of Tawara and going to analyze data about students and tutors. Currency values in Tawara and are in dollars with 2 decimal places. The first part is about evidence. I've asked you not to make evidence as yet. And the second part is carefully examine the data in the files. These are the files which are provided to us. So point number 3, using a suitable spreadsheet software, load this particular file n13course.csv. G. Sorry? No, I will go. Acha ji, N13 course. So best fit the data. This is what we have. Create a header containing the text available courses last edited by, followed by your name, center number, candidate number. This information needs to be added into your header. So for header, you can change the view to the page layout. You go to view and you click on page layout. You'll get to see the header section and also the footer section. So at the top in the header section, they have not mentioned which alignment, so I can add it anywhere I want. So it says available courses, last edited by, and then we are to add our credentials. Once done, click on any cell and then go to view, click on normal. The header is added, but it's not visible at the moment in this particular view. So insert a formula in cell D2, which uses this faculty.csv to look up the name of the faculty. So let's open up faculty first, N13 faculty. So we can see we have the faculty names based on their code. And in our previous file, we are to input the names over here in this column. So we are to look at this code, refer to this file, whatever the corresponding value is, we have to display it. The function that we're going to use is VLOOKUP. Lookup value, this code, comma, table array from the other file, both the columns, comma, column index number, we are interested in column number 2, comma, 0 for the exact match. And this is how we get the faculty name. Replicating for all, best fitting the data. Hidden yoga. So when you take data from an external file, it is always absolute. Okay. But if it is present in the same workbook or same sheet or a different sheet in the same workbook, then you have to make it absolute. You can do it. You can do it if you want. You can do it. Even this, I can change it to relative referencing. If I just select and press F4, I can cycle through the different modes of absolute cell reference. Actually, next is in this insert a formula in F2 now, which uses the file n13quals.csv to look up the full name of the qualification. Let's open up quals. So qualification names based on their codes. In the previous file, we are to give this in F2. Again, looking at the level code, referring to this table, getting the value from the second column and matching it exactly as per the content. So equals to VLOOKUP, bracket open, lookup value is going to be this, comma, table array from this file, both the columns, column index number 2, 0. We get the qualification name. Done. Next is replicate the formula. We've already done that. Format the cells in row 1 to have yellow background, have a bold, italic, and center line, sans serif font. Okay, what's a sans serif font? I don't want to know the name. I want to know what's a sans serif font.
It means without the
Curved edges. Okay. Okay. Not serif. So what's a serif?
the or like times ornate words like times two.
Okay. So basically, if I just open up Word and type in my name, right? So as you can see, as of now, all the letters have a very defined edges. There are no extensions, right? That extension is actually called a serif. Okay? So when they say serif font, that means a font which has extensions. Any font which has extensions comes under the category of serif font. Okay? Sans serif is basically no extensions. So any font which has no extensions, that comes under the category of sans serif. As of now, this font that you see has no extensions at the ends of the letters or anywhere else. So for instance, if I change this font to Times New Roman, if you look at these sections in which this is an extension at the edges, at the corners, so every font has a different style. Any font which has extensions comes under the category of serif font because serif is actually an extension. Sans serif without extensions. So जब आपको एग्जामिनर बोले कि serif font करना है, तो the recommended and the suggested font is Times New Roman. Serif font for Times New Roman. If it says sans serif without extension, then the recommended font is Microsoft Sans Serif and not Arial. Explanation बहुत लंबी है. दोबारा बोलूं? Sans serif is Microsoft Sans serif, not Arial. No. Cambridge always says sans serif. Cambridge says serif. They don't specify Arial. They don't specify Times New Roman. Although you are required to save the files in the native file format. What's a native file format? वो format जो कि आपका software support करता है by default. So if I'm working in Microsoft Word, my native file format is going to be .docx. The document that they give to you is in RTF format, rich text format. The Excel file that you have is a CSV format, right? Because these are generic file formats, can be opened up in any operating system. अच्छा, अब मीना ने पूछा कि why not Arial? We've been doing Arial in O levels because you were not told right, probably. Simple example in. So I'll type M. I'll change the font size to 75. Okay? And I will type M again. This is also 75, but I'll change this M to Arial. So 1M is Microsoft Sans Serif. Yep. This font is Microsoft Sans Serif. This font is Arial. Okay? Now let's zoom in, or let's say magnify this, because I can't zoom in any further. If you look closely, the height of the Arial font is 1 to 2 pixels more than Microsoft Sans Serif. Detectable? Huh? 1 to 2 pixels only. Not much. From here, I can see 1 pixel extension from here as well. Okay? अब इसका impact क्या होता है? My question, पहली बात तो ये कि since मेरा experience जो है वो Cambridge के साथ है, right? So we used to get this scenario every now and then कि people had a different font. अब इसका impact basically क्या होता है कि जब आपको Word document वाला task होता है और जब आप उसका font वगैरह सेट करते हो, सारा कुछ आप पेपर एग्जीक्यूट करके प्रिंट आउट ले लेते हो, तो me being the examiner when I'm checking candidates papers, तो मेरे पास कैम्ब्रिज का ना एक प्रिंटेड डॉक्यूमेंट है जिससे मैंने कंपेयर करना है. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि ये 1 से 2 पिक्सल्स का इम्पैक्ट क्या है. यू रिमेंबर कि वो डॉक्यूमेंट काफी ज्यादा होता है, राइट, वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट. तो जब वो पूरी लाइंस पे पूरे डॉक्यूमेंट पे अप्लाई करता है तो एक पिक्सल करके वो इम्पैक्ट ये होता है कि द फाइनल डॉक्यूमेंट शुड हैव बीन ऑन 2 pages, but the printout that the candidate provided had 3 pages because वो extended है एक पिक्सल और 2 पिक्सल्स, राइट. तो उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा पूरे डॉक्यूमेंट पे जब अप्लाई करेगा तो इट गोज ऑन टू द थर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट or third page. Should have not been the case. So Cambridge actually suggests and recommends that you use the native font. The native font for Microsoft Word is Microsoft Sans Serif and not Arial. Arial is a third party font. ठीक है. So ये Cambridge की guidelines होती थी कि since it comes from that, since you are to save in a document format, you are to use the native fonts as well. Arial is a third party font. Times New Roman is a third party font endorsed by Microsoft. ठीक है. So which is why the height of that font matches exactly with the examiner's solution. So in the end, if you use Times New Roman and create the same document, or you use Microsoft Sans Serif and create the same document, you will fall exactly as like the examiner's solution. O levels में मसला होता है, उसका मार्क कटता है. Because you know what, the examiner says that okay, award one mark if there are 2 pages printed. कुछ भी नहीं करते टीचर्स, आपको बताते ही है, आई नो, कि एरियल सेट करना है. हाँ, again something that was not being asked by the examiner to do. You were overdoing it to adjust your document. उससे फिर काफी चीजें खराब हो गई ना. मार्जिन सेटिंग्स भी आती हैं उसमें, पैराग्राफ सेटिंग्स भी हैं, स्पेसिंग भी उसने स्पेसिफाई की है. Now you're altering it at the end. देखो, with my experience, I've noticed कि since what 3 years, जब आपको ये बताया ही नहीं गया कि this is the font that you were supposed to use, तो obviously आपको तो ये भी नहीं पता कि आपका डॉक्यूमेंट इतने ही पेजेस पे आना चाहिए कि नहीं पता. The same batch, even if you discuss it after the exam, everyone is going to say, I had 3 pages printed for Word. एक्चुअली में नहीं है. कभी आपने खुद पेपर सॉल्व करके उसको कंपेयर करोगे ना विद द मार्किंग स्कीम, या किया होता, तो यू शुड हैव सीन और यू वुड हैव सीन कि ये इम्पैक्ट आता है पूरे डॉक्यूमेंट. और अब जो है वो प्रीव्यू होता नहीं है. मार्किंग स्कीम में, जिसकी वजह से यू कांट इवन से कि अच्छा विजुअली भी जो है ना, मेरे 3 पेजेस थे और मार्किंग स्कीम में 2 हैं, या मेरा 1 पेज है मार्किंग स्कीम में 2 हैं. So there used to be a difference caused by the height of the font. ठीक है? So when it says sans serif without extensions, go with Microsoft Sans Serif. When it says serif, then you go with Times New Roman. These are the 2 fonts that you will use. And that applies to all modules, not just Excel. ठीक है? जहां जहां font की option आएगी, even when you are going to do the graphics creation, वहां पे भी टेक्स्ट ऐड करना होता है, वहां पे भी वो कहता है serif font या sans serif font. So exactly the same font that you're going to use. No, Microsoft नहीं है. Times Roman is endorsed by Microsoft ना. उसमें नहीं, उसमें Times New Roman ही है. ठीक है? Because if you look at this ना, I've got a lot of fonts installed onto my computer. If I go with this, right, even this is considered to be a serif font. ठीक है? This is a serif font. Extensions है, but can you use it? Technically yes, क्योंकि उसने serif font लिखा है ना. लेकिन why don't we use it? Because we are working with Microsoft application, which is Microsoft Word. So we are to use the native file format and native fonts. ठीक है? Arial is not a native font. Zara is smiling. Enlightening information. Sorry? It's okay. It's okay. अब आपको पता नहीं था ना, which is why I discuss these exercises in detail. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे उसने कहा कि yellow background, bold, italic, center line, sans serif. Nothing related to the font, I guess, the size. So we select this, the first row. We come down to home, yellow background, bold, italic, and center line. And yes, sans serif is Microsoft sans serif. ठीक है? Even if I do Arial, it will have exactly the same outlook, but a pixel more in height. So imagine if you were to use it for the whole document of spreadsheet, again, it will have an impact on the printout. ठीक है? Microsoft Sans Serif. Sans Serif है ना, तो Microsoft Sans Serif. Serif है तो Times New Roman. ठीक है? याद रखें. अच्छा, इसको हम बेस्ट फिट कर देते हैं. Then it says display all the grid lines. Now, what are grid lines? The internal lines that you see over here, these are actually grid lines. ठीक है? अच्छा, अब ये भी बच्चों को नहीं पता होता. If I go to file and click on print, look at this. Can I see the grid lines? Can I see the internal lines? Visually नजर आ रही है? Print out में तो नहीं नजर आ रही, but शीट में नजर आ रही है. ठीक है? उसकी वजह क्या है कि जो ग्रिड लाइंस आपकी शीट पे होती हैं, these are basically borders. So we select the whole data and in the home tab under the font option group we have the borders. So you drop it down and we select all borders. Now the grid lines are basically converted into solid lines. Over here they are grayed out. Over here they are pure black. Now if I go to my file and click on print, you will see the grid lines. Okay? So grid lines जब Excel में apply करनी होती हैं, they actually refer to applying borders. अच्छा, एक और चीज देखो. If I scroll down, you can see the grid lines, right? You can see the cells. ठीक है, विजुअली नजर आ रहे हैं। क्यों नजर आ रहे हैं? बिकॉज अंडर व्यू वी हैव एन ऑप्शन कॉल्ड ग्रिड लाइंस. सो ग्रिड लाइंस आर विजिबल, they are not printable. ठीक है, if I uncheck this, look what happens. The sheet becomes blank. You can't specify or you can't actually visually see the cells. लेकिन अगर ऊपर आओ तो ये देखो कि borders अभी भी applied हैं. So borders are printable, they are visible, but the grid lines by default in Excel, they're not visible. So यहाँ पे grid lines activated होती हैं so that you can see the cells, but they are not going to be a part of your print. Are we clear on this? ठीक है. So grid lines उसने बोला visible होनी चाहिए, तो that means कि you are to apply borders. Borders being applied to the whole data. Next, hide the columns A and B. You know how to hide them. A and B, select, right click and hide. Next is print only the top and the bottom pages of the spreadsheet in landscape orientation, showing all the formulas. Ensure that all formulas and labels are fully visible. Show row and column headings as well. Show formulas के लिए क्या करते हैं? We go to formulas and we click on show formulas. Once the formula view is visible, you can see the functions are cutting off. तो आपने क्या करना है? इसको best fit करना. अच्छा, जब मैं इस तरह बेस्ट फिट करूंगा तो क्या इंपैक्ट आएगा शीट में? इफ यू कैन रिकॉल, इफ आई बेस्ट फिट द डेटा, व्हाट हैपेंड? डेटा तो बेस्ट फिट हो गया, लेकिन जो मैंने कॉलम ए और बी को हाइड किया था वो दोबारा से क्या होगी? विजिबल होगी. ठीक है, विजिबल कैसे होगी? स्क्रॉल बार से इधर आओ. दिस इज नॉट हिडन, आई एम गोइंग टू डू इट अगेन. अनहाइड करते हुए हमने देखा था कि when we select all columns and rows, best fit the data, the hidden columns they get visible. ठीक है, ये आपके पास आ गया. उसके बाद उसने कहा जी टॉप और बॉटम को आपने करना है with page orientation and all. So I will just straight away go to my print. हाँ क्या? हाँ, प्रिंट अब करना है, लेकिन प्रिंट आपने प्रिंट उस तरह नहीं करना. I'll tell you what to do. You will select the printer as print to PDF. Orientation उसने कहा हुआ लैंडस्केप, so यहाँ पे orientation आप चेंज कर लोगे लैंडस्केप. उसके बाद उसने रो एंड कॉलम हेडिंग्स की बात की हुई है. फॉर दैट यू नीड टू गो टू पेज सेटअप, क्लिक ऑन शीट एंड देन क्लिक ऑन रो एंड कॉलम हेडिंग्स. क्लिक ऑन ओके. So you get the row and column headings. ठीक है. अच्छा, उसके बाद scaling all columns on one page so that width wise my data is present on one page. How many pages in total do I have? 9, right? I have to take only the first page and the last page, convert that into a PDF, acts as my printout. ठीक है. So in Excel what you can do, pages 1 to 1. So that will print only the first page. ठीक है. So we click on print. हमारे पास pop-up box खुलेगा. Let's say I'm going to save it on my desktop. I'll say this is my print 1. Saved. Then again with the similar settings, I will go to print again. Over here, I'm going to type in, there are total 9 pages. So I'll type in 9 of 9. That will take out my last page. So this is my saved on the desktop. This is my print 2. ठीक है. This is my first page and my last page. Open it up. This is how the data looks in the first page, and if you open the second page, so this is how the data looks. You get this? ठीक है. So जहां पे भी from this point onwards, wherever you get to see print, then you are to print in PDF. ताकि आपकी इसकी भी प्रैक्टिस हो, क्योंकि आईटी के अंदर यू नॉट गोइंग टू टेक एनी फिजिकल प्रिंट आउट्स, बट यू मे टेक आउट द पोर्टेबल डॉक्यूमेंट फॉर्मेट विच इज अ PDF. ठीक है. So practice the PDF as well. So Sikaji, display the columns A and B. Select only the courses where code contains the letter E and the number 2. So first of all, we are going to display the column A and B, unhide. Then we are to apply what? Select only the course where the code contains letter E and the number 2. क्या करेंगे? Filter. So we'll select the first row, click on home, then in the sort and filter, we will select filter. When we click on filter, we get drop down arrows. अब कहाँ पे करना है apply filter? Where the code, courses where the code contains letter E, over here. It needs to have E and what? 2, the number 2, right? If I just scroll through, the numbers are at the end, no? है ना? और E जो है वो कहीं पे मिडिल में कहीं पे है, कहीं पे है, कहीं पे नहीं भी है, ठीक है? So how do we do it? Code, we have text filters. Ends with what? 2. If I click on OK, this applies. I get to have all the courses which are having 2 in it or at the end. Okay. If I apply text filter and contains, let's say contains E. Now let's see what happens. Click on OK. My previous filter got disengaged or removed, right? So I need to figure out a way in which I can apply the filter at the same time for the E and the 2. So I'll go back to my text filters and click on contains the letter E and contains. So letter E and also 2. Ends with लिखते हैं तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास ends with ये है, ठीक है? So we click on OK. ये भी ठीक है. Although it applies to this particular case, what if कि हमारा नंबर भी कहीं ना कहीं होता तो फिर हम contains कर देते, ठीक है? We'll get to have the similar kind of result, I guess, ठीक है? So these are the courses. उसके बाद again, print the sheet in portrait orientation showing the values. Ensure that this data fits into a single page and fully visible. Now, if I look at my data, the functions are visible. I need to show the values. I'll switch to my value view, shortcut use करके, and then I'll click on the best fit. Again, when I click on the best fit, I need to see के कोई data miss out तो नहीं हो रहा. Go to file, click on print. Again, print to PDF, that's the printer. Portrait orientation, and you need to fit all the data on one sheet. That is already done or applied. Fit all columns on one sheet. I can also select fit sheet on one page. It will have no impact. It will be the same, right? Then once you're done, click on print and save your print. So print 3. Find, wait, let me select. अच्छा उसने रो एंड कॉलम हेडिंग्स का भी कहा हुआ है कि इसमें नहीं है, right? So I need to deselect that by going to page setup, click on sheet, uncheck the row and column headings, and I will select not the active sheet, I will select print selection, portrait orientation sheet on one page, so click on print. I've got print 3. Overwrite this. Right. Is that so? Pages ka aa raha hai? Oh yes. This needs to be removed. I missed this. ठीक है जी, ये सारा कुछ हो जाएगा, इसको आप प्रिंट कर लें. So print 3. Next, using a suitable spreadsheet software, load the file n13 tutor. So n13 tutor is this. Best fit your data. That's the first step that you do. Then insert 3 new rows at the above row 1. So we select the row 1 under the home tab. On the right hand side in the cell option group, we have insert. So 1, 2, 3. 3 rows added above row 1. The row 1 becomes 4 and we have 3 new rows added. Next is in cell A1, place the text course tutors at last edited by. So over here A1 course tutors last edited by, then add your credentials. Done. Merge the cells A1 to O1 into a single cell. So we select A1 till O1. In the home tab, we have merge and center. So we select this. That will convert all these into one cell. Center line the contents of the cell. They are center lined. Set the text in the cell to an 18-point serif font. Right? So changing the font size to 18. Serif font is ×0. Done. Next is in cell K2, place the text date for calculation. So K2 is this cell. We type in date for calculation. Done. Best fit the column so that the data is fully visible. Date for calculation added. Then point number 19 says you will place the date that will be used to calculate the pension in cell J2. Make sure that only dates and including 2010 and 2040 can be entered into this cell and tell the user if incorrect data has been entered. इसका मतलब क्या है? J2 में हम एक डेट डालेंगे जिससे पेंशन कैलकुलेट होगी. ठीक है? That date needs to be between 2010 and 2040. ठीक है? डेटा की कितनी टाइप्स होती हैं? When we refer to numbers or a range. हाँ जी? Anyone? एक सिनेरियो ले लो. सिनेरियो ये है कि 55 एक रूल बनाता है that we are going to give admissions to students whose age is going to be from 15 to 20. So that is what the acceptable range. 15 years का accept हो जाएगा, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 13 years वाले को admission मिलेगा, 22 वाले को no, right? So we have 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 20, right? यहाँ पे हमारे पास 16 है, 17 है, 18 है, 19. ठीक है? This is 21 and onwards. This is lesser than 15. ठीक है? This cell and this value. These are my extreme boundaries. Acceptable boundaries. 15 से कम, 20 से ज़्यादा accept नहीं होगा. ठीक है? So हम इसको बोलते हैं extreme data. ठीक है? This is also extreme. बोलो बोलो. Yes, all this is basically your normal range. So we type in normal here, and all these values are normal. What about these values? Right? So these are abnormal values. इनको हम बोलते हैं abnormal. Got it? Boundaries क्या होंगी? Extreme values. Boundaries क्या होती हैं? Extreme values होती हैं. ठीक है? अगर मैं सिनेरियो चेंज कर दूं, मैं कहता हूं कि ओके 15 and 20, that is our range, but they are not included. We accept admission of students whose age is between 15 and 20 exclusive. तो हमारी acceptable range क्या हुई? 16, 17, 18, 19. In that case, the boundaries would be 16 and 19. ठीक है? So 15 और 20 भी abnormal हो जाएगी. So it depends on कि आपकी acceptable range क्या है. अब यहां पे उसने कहा है 2020 एंड 2040 के बीच में. मुझे आप ये बताओ 2020 2010 है 2020 है 2010 है. सो 2010 कहां से स्टार्ट होता है? 1st of Jan. सो 01/01/2010 से लेके 2040. Where does it end? 31st of December 2040. So these are what? Extreme values, boundaries हैं. इनके बीच में कोई भी डेट होगी, लेट्स से 05/08/2015, दैट इज समथिंग विच इज इन बिटवीन, तो उसको हम नॉर्मल बोलेंगे. एनी डेट विच इज बिफोर दिस, सो लेट्स से 06/09/2005, so that is outside, that is abnormal. Even the date 31/12/2009 is outside my range. So that is an abnormal value. Do we all get this? अब बात करें कि validation आप लगाते कैसे. Where do we have to apply it? We have to apply it on J2. So we will select the cell. We head over to data, and then we click on data validation. ठीक है? Once you click on it, आपके पास data validation का pop-up box खुलेगा to do your settings. By default, it is set to allow any value. ठीक है? तो यहां पे आपको date की range चाहिए, so we select date here. Between starting date is 01/01/2010. End date is what? 31/12/2040. Clear on this? Huh? अच्छा. Input message. Input message एक basically hint होती है. So if you take your pointer on top of that cell, it will start displaying some information. So that is basically before you enter data, वो आपको कुछ hint देगा. ठीक है? So let's say मैं इसका title डाल देता हूं information, और मैं input message डाल देता हूं enter date for pension calculation. Let's say this is my hint or information. Error alert, anything which is entered beyond my range, which is not a part of my range, तो error आ जाएगा. Error आएगा तो उसमें क्या message आएगा वो हम यहाँ डालेंगे. Error alert पे हम डाल देते हैं let's say invalid data is my title, और error में डाल देते हैं you may only enter dates between 01/01/2010 and 31/12/2040 inclusive. This message is totally up to you. किस तरह आपने लिखना है in your own words. ठीक है? And you click on OK. No. But You can see the input message. It starts appearing when I select the cell. Okay, now I know that I need to enter the date for pension calculation. So let's say if I add 01/01/2010, press enter, it gets accepted. If I enter 31/12/2040, enter, it gets accepted. If I enter 20/2 or let's say 02/2005, that is bit outside my range, right? So enter करो तो आपके पास error आता है. ठीक है, अगर मैं कोई डेट डाल देता हूँ 20/02/2050, that is also outside my range. We press enter, we get an error message. This is how validation is applied. Do we get this, Momina? हाँ, अच्छा.
Sir, मेरा ना Excel में मेरा laptop I think built for
अच्छा,
yeah.
सबसे पहले आप ये चेक किया करो, when you open up the system, before you open up any file, always look at your date. ठीक है, so right now the date is 17th of September 2025. It should be DMY. Your system needs to be in DMY. ठीक है, अगर सिस्टम डेट दे रहा है आपको 09/17/2025, सो MDY हो गया. MDY फॉर्मेट जो होता है ना वो US का होता है, DMY फॉर्मेट UK का होता है. हमारे पास फाइल्स कहां से आ रही, तो वहां से जो इंकोडेड डेट फॉर्मेट है दैट इज UK. ठीक है, तो अगर आप अपने US सिस्टम पे UK की इंकोडेड फाइल खोलते हो तो उसमें डेट्स खराब हो जाती. The best way, easiest way to do it, open up your start menu. Mina, open up your start menu, type in control panel. ठीक है, open it up. यहाँ पे आपके पास ऑप्शंस आएंगी. ठीक है, you can by default ये कुछ इस तरह नजर आता है. ठीक है, change it, view by large icons or small icons, and then find region. Over here, click on it. Over here the format needs to be English UK. ठीक है, you can see the short date format of UK, long date format of UK. If I change this to English US, you can see the date format. ठीक है, if I apply it, look at my date, right? So you need to change your regional settings, change them to English UK.
Sir, कि वो Excel में US और आपका system का date format
बात मैंने कहा कि फाइल encoded होती है. Encoded is basically where it was created, so it is following that system time. And since they use DMY, तो ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. You will still have problems. उसमें क्या होगा कि if you have a date ना, if I expand this, ठीक है, मान लो कि अभी हमने करना भी है बेसिकली, आगे देखो मैं आपको बताता हूँ. So in your evidence document, create a test table that will be used for 6 pieces of test data and looks like this. This needs to be created in your Microsoft Word document or your evidence document. 3 marks then. 7 marks की validation, 3 marks का ये table बनाना है, उसके बाद उस table को fill out करना है, complete the test table. 13 marks. So in total, you're looking at around 23 marks, if I'm not wrong. ठीक है, तो काफी ज्यादा है. करना कैसे, वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट खोलो, ब्लैंक डॉक्यूमेंट. In order to create this chart or this table, how many columns do you see? 4. How many rows? 9. So we go to insert, we drop down table, we click on insert table. Number of columns 4, number of rows 9. Click on OK. ये हमारे पास टेबल बन गया. अब हमने क्या करना है, वी नीड टू मैच द डिजाइन. So the first row, these cells are merged, these cells are merged, these cells are merged, right? So we are going to merge the cells according to our requirement. Okay, so these three are to be merged. These three are to be merged. These two are merged. Select, right click, click on merge cells. Merged. These two are merged. Done ji. Ab important part. Fill it out as it is. So this is cell. This is J2. This is test type. This is range check. Then we have data chosen. We have type of data. Then we have expected outcome and the actual outcome. Done ji. Type of data. We have extreme, we have normal, we have abnormal. जब आप ये लिख लोगे डेटा चोजन, एक्सट्रीम के लिए आप कौन सा डेटा चूज करोगे, द एक्सट्रीम वैल्यूज. सो 01/01/2010 and the second value is going to be 31/12/2040. For normal, pick any two dates, 09/09/2015. एक और ले लें 03/05/2018 or 30 as Zara says, right? उसके बाद abnormal में कोई भी dates ले लें, let's say 15/08/2002 and 16/07/2060. सही हो गया. अच्छा, what do you expect when you enter these two dates in that cell? किसमें? J2 में. जब हम ये dates डालेंगे तो क्या हम expect करते हैं? हम expect करते हैं that the value is going to be, it will accept the values. हम normal values भी expect करते हैं कि accept हो जाएंगी. हम abnormal values expect करते हैं कि वो reject हो जाएंगी. ठीक है? Actual outcome. What actually happened when you entered this data? I don't actually have to test it out. I know कि जब मैं उसे डालूंगा, enter press करूंगा तो क्या होगा? It will be accepted. Same goes for the other date. Same goes for my normal date. Same goes for this normal date. But what about the abnormal dates? What actually happens? Huh? Reject होती है. But actually what happens? 12/06/2060. What actually happens? An error comes. So I need to take a screenshot of this error. Windows Shift S, shortcut key for taking a screenshot. You drag the area which is the error, come to your evidence document and paste your error. Paste किया, लेकिन अब आपको उसको क्या करना है? You need to fit it. ठीक है, तो आप इसको shift दबा के maintaining the aspect ratio, you're going to decrease the size of this. Readable नहीं है? I think है, because it is a soft copy evidence document, no? So the examiner always have the option to मैं लगाता हूँ. आप, मैं नहीं करूंगा, बट ये एक ऐसी चीज है कि अगर आपने एरर लगाया होगा ना तो हमें गौर से पढ़ने की जरूरत भी नहीं. ठीक है, इट जस्ट नीड्स टू बी देयर. ठीक है, आपने थोड़ा सा इसका साइज बड़ा रखना है तब भी ठीक है। वो ओ लेवल्स में इसलिए काउंट करता है बिकॉज वहां पे प्रिंट आउट होना होता है, और प्रिंट आउट में तो हम उस तरह जूम कर नहीं सकते, तो in that it needs to be readable. ठीक है, same error is going to be produced if I enter the second date, so I'm going to copy the same screenshot. इसका भी यही आउटकम है, so copy paste. ठीक है, डन। ये जी आपका पॉइंट नंबर 21 भी हो गया, because you were, if the actual outcome of the test is an error message, take a screenshot of this message and place it in the correct cell of the table. We've done it. कहते हैं cell J2 enter date 1st of April 2013. 1st of April 01/01/04/2013. This is our date. Okay. Then in cell K5 use a function to display the date held in H5 to J5. Okay. Over here I need to compile the date. Compiling the date equals to date function bracket open. Year कहां पे है जी? Year ये है, comma month is this, comma day is this. This is how you compile the date. ठीक है, अगर इसको देखना चाहो तो ये देखो। ठीक है, अभी आप ये देखो कि मेरा ये MDY में आ रहा है ना? ठीक है, so I will right click, go to format cells, click on my custom and change my date, which is DD/MM/4Ys. Sorry, need to remove it. DD/MM/4Ys. ठीक है, once you do this, you click on OK and your date is in DMY format. This date needs to be in DMY format. Again, format cells, custom format, the date needs to be DD/MM/4Ys. This changed why? ये देखो ये क्यों चेंज हुई थी? Because in the middle I changed my format to MDY for some time. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे डेट जो है ना हमें चाहिए 1st of April 2013. DMY format DMY. So let's have 01/04/2013. No, it actually messed up my file. I will have to close it and reopen the file to fix it. ठीक है, so let's ignore this for now. आगे देखिए, L5 enter formula to calculate the number of days that this tutor has been employed by the university. Days employed, how many days? Equals to, this is a greater date for calculation to be used, minus this date. अच्छा, जब मैं replicate करूंगा सब एम्प्लॉइज के लिए, क्या मेरी रेफरेंस डेट J2 में नहीं है? So that needs to not change. So I will make it absolute. ये समझ आई? Enter and replicate this for all employees, replicate this for all employees. ठीक हो गया? उसके बाद वो कहता है कि in cell M5 enter formula to calculate the number of years that this tutor has been employed by the university. Round this value to 2 decimal places. Years बनाने, ये मेरे पास क्या है? Days. Years बनाने के लिए क्या करूं? What will I do? Equals to this date divided by 360. That will convert this into years. Why 360? Corporate में 360 का होता है साल, 365 का भी नहीं होता, 366 का भी नहीं होता, I get paid on monthly basis, but for Feb, they don't say that, okay, it was for 28 days, so you're going to get paid for 28 days. Or for December, you're going to get paid for, let's say, 31 days. So we always get paid based on 30 days a month. So 30 days each month, 12 months, 360. You remember the days 360? Function, days 360. Right? So that's the number of years. Round this to 2 decimal places. We are going to apply round, bracket open, comma 2, enter. These are the number of years. 2 decimal places. If you say कि फॉर्मेट से जाके कर सकते हैं, फॉर्मेट से जाके कर तो सकते हैं, लेकिन एक्चुअल रिक्वायरमेंट आपकी फंक्शन लगाने की है. So you are to apply the function. Next, N5 enter formula to calculate the number of pensionable years that this tutor has been employed. This is the number of years employed multiplied by the contents of the contract column. Simple. Pensionable years, the number of years employed multiplied with the figure in contract. Pensionable years निकल आएंगे आपके. ठीक हो गया. उसके बाद O5 enter formula to calculate the annual pension. This is calculated by pensionable years multiplied by salary whole divided by 80. Again, annual pension equals to bracket open pensionable years multiplied with the salary whole divided by 80. Have you noticed that I've used the brackets? I just don't want that it may divide by 80 first. I want this multiplication to be done first and then divided by 80. Get the answer. Replicate for all. Next. Replicate the formula for 23 to 27. We've already done that. In cell O48, enter formula to calculate the total annual pension for these tutors. So you scroll down in O48, which is this. You take out the total pension, which is sum. Select the whole column and press enter. You get the total. So ये भी कहा था कि currency जो है, this needs to be US dollars with 2 decimal places. So this cell and all these cells, which is the annual pension, and the salary column. Select all by holding down control. Right click, go to format cell, select currency dollars to 2 decimal places. Click on OK. ठीक है, currency symbol उसने start of the paper ये mention किया था. Then what? Enter formula to copy the contents of cell J2. Important. Where do we have to copy the contents of J2? Over here, O2. So if we write equals to J2, that means copy the contents, whatever is present in J2, copy it or display it over here. That is the thing. Acha. What if I type in 02/05/2060? Do I need to enter the date for calculation over here? No. It was said कि आपने वो J2 में डालनी. ठीक है, अगर मैं चेंज कर देता हूं, the validation does not apply over here. यहां पे अगर मैं मैनुअली डेट डालूं outside my range 05/02/2060, ये एक्सेप्टेबल तो नहीं है ना. J2 में अगर डालूंगा नहीं डलेगी. यहां पे मैंने क्या किया है, यहां पे equals to J2 किया था ना, equals to J2, but I could change the contents, है ना. अच्छा, if I come to this cell, Control C to copy and come to my O2, Control V to paste. In this particular scenario, my validation is also copied. That is not the requirement. The requirement is you just need to display the contents of J2 in O2. तो आप सिर्फ ये करोगे. अब यहाँ पे वैलिडेशन अप्लाइड है 02/05/2060 कॉपी करने का डिफरेंस. कई बच्चों ने ये कॉपी किया, इट वाज नॉट मेंट टू बी कॉपीड. आपको इसको इक्वल्स टू J2 करना, बस सिंपल. बट पीपल हैव डन इट. कॉपी पेस्ट से क्या हो रहा है, वैलिडेशन भी कॉपी पेस्ट हो रही है. ठीक है. सो इक्वल्स टू J2. Format the appropriate cells into currency. We've already done that. उसके बाद I think you should be able to print the printable part, apply the filter. ठीक है. So this was the solution to your exercise 4.